My Lords, it's a great honour to take part in this debate on His Majesty the King's gracious speech. And as we debate these issues here today, I don't believe, as other noble lords have mentioned, that we can ignore the appalling terror attack and hostage-taking by Hamas on October the 7th. And neither, my Lords, can we ignore the terrible consequences. More than 39,000 Palestinians have been killed, including around 15,000 children, and more than 10,000 are missing under the rubble. Revenge is not a strategy. I am not here, my Lords, to question Israel's undoubted legal right to defend itself. I am here to remind noble Lords about the importance of the international rule of law, to ask this chamber if we still believe that it is worth defending, and if this chamber believes that it is, to be clear about some very difficult facts and our responsibility in the face of these. Even before the terrible events of October the 7th, our proclaimed ally, Israel, had long been in defiance of the jurisdiction of international organisations and treaties, in breach of more than 30 UN resolutions and the Geneva Conventions. The catalogue of violations and rulings are dismal, whether it's the UN Security Council Resolution 478 in 1980 condemning the annexation of Jerusalem, the ICJ's 2004 advisory opinion of the illegality of the separation barrier, or the various UN Charter resolutions concerning the occupation, illegal settlements, and forceful and unlawful annexation of land. But beyond customary verbal condemnations, the West turned a blind eye to these breaches. We made it clear by our apathy that Israel was an exception to the rules. We in the West are now dangerously exposed by that apathy. In September 2022, the UN Independent Commission concluded in its report to the UNGA that the Israeli occupation of Palestinian settlement territory was unlawful under international law owing to its permanence and to actions undertaken by Israel to annex parts of the land de facto and de jure. The Commission stated that the permanent occupation and annexation by Israel could not remain unaddressed, and the General Assembly requested the ICJ provide an advisory opinion. That opinion finally arrived on Friday. It stated that the occupation of Palestinian territory was illegal under international law. This ruling was welcomed as historic and clear and unambiguous, but, my Lords, it only formalised what we already knew. And make no mistake, Netanyahu's government is accelerating its lawlessness. While eyes have been fixed on Gaza, almost 600 Palestinians have been killed in the occupied West Bank since October the 7th. Settlers have reportedly carried out more than 1,000 attacks on Palestinians with apparent impunity, and allegedly often with the protection of Israeli security forces. Dangerous rhetoric is being ratcheted up by extremist elements within the government. It is reported that Israel has recently approved or advanced plans for around 5,300 homes in dozens of illegal settlements across the West Bank. This is the kind of lawless behaviour we might expect from a rogue state, an enemy of the West, and an enemy of a rules-based order. But let me remind noble Lords that this is a first world state of immense sophistication, a proclaimed ally of the UK, the US, and the West. My Lords, if the West is to maintain any hold or credibility in upholding the rules-based order on which we all depend, the rule of law must apply to all equally.